Hey guys, so we are just enjoying some beautiful quality time at one of our favorite spots in the world, the beautiful Black's Beach. Just slowing down, connecting with each other, having some beautiful, intimate connection in this just beautiful, spacious, expansive place. And in this video, I want to talk a little bit about how after being together for nearly 10 years, we're still able to feel like we're in the honeymoon phase, where the spark and the passion and that kind of primal, animal-like lust for one another is still so intact because of how we've learned how to really create that polarity in our relationship. And this is something I think a lot of gay men get really confused about. When we hear the term polarity, like, what do you initially think of when you hear the word polarity?
Before you were studying it and talking about it, I thought it meant like masculine, feminine, more dominant or submissive, things like that, like leader, receiver, giver, receiver,
Yeah,
provider, and the opposite,
yeah,
things like that.
I felt the same way. I thought it meant like opposites attract, and you have to be like at two different opposite spectrums of a pole for there to be this magnetic charge. And I was thinking, that's kind of built into heteronormative relationships where there's a man and a woman, there's just a natural penetrator and a natural receiver. But with gay men, it's far more complicated. And what I've come to realize is it's not about necessarily two distinct extreme opposites, or the masc fem top bottom dom sub type of thing, or one being loud, one being quiet, one being the leader, one being the follower. It's about really knowing how to be your own full, your own unique, distinct individual self. Because when we get really comfortable in long-term relationships, and a lot of gay men that we've worked with fall into this pattern of really trying to adjust and almost conform, even before the relationship begins, trying so hard to kind of be who you think the other person wants you to be. I fell into this pattern for a really long time when I was single. I tried so hard to fit the mold of what I thought gay men would want. And I couldn't ever figure out why guys didn't want anything more than a hookup with me. But what we've come to understand is that really being able to step into what we call your king energy is how you can maintain that distinctiveness, that polarity, that creates that erotic tension, which is that felt pull, that magnetism, that lustful, hedonistic type of animal-like, just ravage type of desire that I love that we get to have and experience in our relationship even after 10 years, and that so many gay men can have too, when you learn how to really step into your uniqueness and prevent the fear of losing someone from causing you to feel like you have to kind of shrink and cave and walk on eggshells and kind of shrink into the relationship. Anything you want to add to that?
Kind of starting to understand it better and how to talk about it. It's something we've been living for a long time, and we've been studying, we've been researching how to keep the spark alive, how to reignite the spark, not only in our relationship, but how we can help our clients do it and just keep getting better and better and better at it. And I might be repeating what you said, but it's the distinctiveness. When two people are completely their authentic selves, completely and entirely their authentic selves, there are naturally going to be a lot of differences, a lot of distinctions, because there is nobody that is a clone of you. And it's from people that are different and have different desires, different ways of thinking, different ways of seeing, different ways that they want to live their life. But then when they come together and it's, I feel like I'm happier when I'm with this person overall, and there's something that this person does just by being themselves that just lights a fire in me, but they don't want to be attached at my hip 24/7, and I don't want to be attached at their hip 24/7. And so it's an interesting way, it's like an interesting dance. And what we see happen when polarity diminishes, there's usually, it can be both partners actually doing this. We see this happen a lot as well, where both partners are doing this. But for simplicity purposes, in some situations, there's one partner that is really kind of conceding their natural expression a lot. They're suppressing themselves a lot. They're afraid to rock the boat. They're focused more on doing what they think the other partner wants so that the other partner can be happy. And in that process, they're losing their unique, distinctive authenticity. What was underneath the spark of the partnership to begin with. And it comes from good intentions. It comes from wanting to make the partner happy, right? There's that phrase, happy wife, happy life, right? So many gay men think happy husband, happy partner, happy marriage, happy household.
Yeah.
But ultimately the opposite happens when this becomes perpetual and at the cost of one's own authentic expression.
Yeah, and this is where the love can still be there. The love and the appreciation. A lot of times that overgiving doesn't automatically make the partner like more selfish, but sometimes it does. But what always happens when one does start shrinking into the relationship by giving too much, trying too hard, walking on eggshells, kind of being more about what the other person wants to do than they want to do, it shows this lack of self-respect, and it really just diminishes that erotic tension that comes from the polarity, because one partner starts shrinking into the other, and there's just not room for that passion and that pull and that spark to exist. And that is why, and by the way, this is what we call caregiver energy, when you let the fear of losing someone or just your extreme love for someone cause you to kind of lose yourself and sacrifice yourself and overgive and try too hard and overfunction in the relationship.
Yeah, more specifically, caregiver energy, it's the energy you radiate when you are caring more, when you're giving more care to somebody else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions than yourself.
Exactly.
You're giving more care to things outside of you than what is actually important within here.
Yeah, and this is something that's happened in our relationship. Andrew had fallen into a lot of caregiver energy in the early years of our relationship, and it naturally kind of caused me to adjust, to kind of lean back and expect him to always be that way. And just like we're describing, it's something that caused me to not desire Andrew as much as I do today, because he made the necessary shifts to recalibrate the dynamic in our relationship by learning how to own his king energy, by really stepping into prioritizing what he wants and how he feels and what he thinks. And when he started radiating that energy consistently, it really shifted the way that I related to him. And there was no longer room for me to be leaning back and expecting him to be that way, because he was no longer filling that role. And that's what created the space for me to know that if I didn't rise into my king energy and be an equally devoted partner, then I was going to lose him. But it wasn't fear of losing him. It was him stepping into his uniqueness, his distinctiveness, him owning his king energy. It was so fucking sexy, and it made me just crave him in a whole new way. And since then, we've been able to really understand this much more deeply and be able to practice, and using the tools that we teach in our energetic attraction coaching system to be able to maintain this king energy consistently. And every once in a while, I'll feel myself kind of slipping backwards or kind of worrying too much about what Andrew thinks or how he feels. And then I start to realize that I'm not feeling, in my strength and in my power. And when I'm able to catch that and recalibrate with the tools that we teach, I go from worrying too much about what he thinks and walking on eggshells to really stepping into my power and leaning into even having some of the difficult conversations sometimes. And I love that we're able to maintain this in our relationship, which ignites so much passion and so much spark, whether we're here at the beach, just really enjoying each other in each other's bodies, or in the bedroom, or outside the bedroom when we're just being our normal selves. Having this polarity is something that just makes our relationship feel so exciting, and it's allowing us to continue 10 years in and be in the honeymoon phase. And I love how we're able to help our clients have this as well.